it going?
It's going well. I kind of.
What a shitty entrance. What the fuck was that?
Fuck it. We'll do it live. I was going to say, so as you know, I got back from the gym a while ago. And while I was there, I was doing flat overhead tricep raises with the dumbbell.
Yeah.
And I was finishing up my last set, and I was bringing the dumbbell up over. So I was laying down on my back, brought it up over my face, and then I went to sit up to place the dumbbell down on the bench, but I misjudged how much space was between my crotch and the edge of the bench, and I mashed the boys. I didn't smash them because I caught it in time, but it was just enough to, like, you know, if it was like if they were clown noses, they would have honked a little bit.
Just a quick boop.
Yeah, just a quick one, but it was enough to make me sit there and just like, you know, like when you barely hit your nuts, it's like almost worse than like when you really hit them.
Oh yeah, when they get grazed.
Yeah, because like there's like it doesn't hurt right away. There's like this anticipation. You're like, oh god, here it comes. It was so bad. But I suppose it would have been worse if I would have smashed them like 2 eggs.
Yeah, that just been like shit everywhere.
It blew out my short legs.
This is fucking blood and cum everywhere. Everybody's just like, oh my god. Oh man.
God, I couldn't fucking imagine.
You'd been on the BME Pain Olympics.
God. I would just be like, you know, there should be a number you can call, like, aside from 911. Like, I don't know, like, instead of sending emergency services to come help you, they just send a cop and he just comes and shoots you in the head. just puts you out of your misery. Oh my god, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I'd be like, there's no reason left for me to be here.
Yeah, I'd be like,
goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Have a beautiful time.
Yeah, and then you just like fade away into like. Everybody's like, oh my god, is that what happens?
Like a fucking screen transition. Yeah. I just like star wipe away. It's like credits start rolling where I was standing.
It's like the was it the oh shit, what's that show there? Everybody puts the outro ending to it. It's the guy with like the crazy hair. It comes on HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh yeah. It plays like that Italian music. Yeah. That would be the perfect outro song for my fucking life.
Oh, good.
Just one failure after another until it's all over with.
Is it like that meme? It's like, fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. I'd be like, Wesley, we had to push back recording. I've smashed my nuts. They're gone.
Like, we'll give you as much time as you want. We'll take another hiatus.
Oh man. I mean, you can always get fake nuts.
But would you want them?
I would get the biggest motherfucker nuts. Just like
you get like the ones they put on the backs of trucks.
Yeah. Fucking truck nuts. They just hang around your dick.
No, that's like, yeah, like it's not. They don't even put them in there. They just like take the rest of your sack away and just like implant that thing in your skin.
I was thinking they just hang it off your dick with like a bread tie.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would get two like fucking like grapefruit sized balls.
Why would you do that when you could do something where you could have like two like morning stars?
Just like with like fucking spikes poking it out.
That way, in case you ever like get into a situation where you're being attacked.
I can just swing my nuts at somebody,
Yeah.
cave their plate mail in.
Yeah, he can be that Spider-Man we're talking about, his friend.
Yeah.
One of the superheroes.
But yeah, here's Spider-Man.
Mr. Morningstar.
Spider-Man and Crush Nuts.
Crush nuts.
He uses his nuts to crush other people's nuts.
Moaning man and crush nuts.
Speaking of getting genitals replaced, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but we were talking about transgender people and how I was like, I know that they can take a penis and turn it into a vagina or something that resembles a vagina. I was like, but I don't think they can do the opposite. I was like, I don't think they can put a working penis on a person, and they totally can.
Really?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's called a neopenis.
A neo penis, like Neo
Yes.
from like the Matrix.
Well, I think they just mean like new.
Oh, why don't they just say new penis? Why Neo? Like,
Yeah, I mean it's not
like
a
some
new
type
penis.
of like fucking sci-fi film we're doing over here.
It's got like fucking
they're
cooling
like,
tubes and shit
they're like,
coming out of it.
they're like, you have to take the blue pill or the red pill. Like,
But it was like
ah, fuck, I chose the little one.
like, oh, for the big one, I had to take.
And
the
doesn't that seem
suppository.
a bit unfair? It's like,
Well, I was about
transgender folks can get like this massive hog.
They totally
It's
can
It's
because
like some poor dude that's got a micro penis.
I was because I looked at a picture of it. I was like, this can't be real, and it was like, yeah, you can totally just like craft your own dick. How big do you want it? And,
Like a Build-A-Bear.
yeah. They stuff it full of cotton. They stick it on that fucking tube. Some poor teenager works it back and forth and fills it up with
He's
cotton.
like, I'm working on the cock stuffer again today, son of a bitch.
Cock stuffer.
Yeah, I'd rather be working on like the foreskin stretcher or something
Yeah.
like that.
Over here at Design a Dick. But yeah, it's totally unfair.
Which, by the way, everybody, we're being facetious, so
Oh yeah, no problem with transgender people.
yeah. But seriously though, like that is a bit unfair.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, there's people out there with micro penises, like who have like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch erections.
Yeah, like it's
And,
like it's like it's like a medical classification. Like,
Yeah, like what a shame to live with.
yeah.
And if
It's
and
like
on
any
the off-
prospects of like romance or anything. It's just gone. It's gone.
off the table. You better get real good at eating a bowl of clam chowder, if you know what I'm
Chowder.
saying. Because yeah, I mean,
Boy.
yeah, on the off chance that anybody listening to this has a micro penis, I mean, we're not coming down on you. I'm just saying.
No, I'm talking. I'm not
I'm
talking
sorry.
about like. I'm not talking about someone that's like has like a 5-inch wiener or like a 4.5-inch wiener. I'm talking about like people with like a less than an inch wiener.
Yeah.
Like that's like people have those.
Yeah, it's basically just like a dick head.
Yeah, that's literally all it is.
Yeah. Man, that person should be allowed to get a neopenis.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
Like-
I think that guy should jump the line before any transgender person.
He's been living with this shame all his life.
Yeah.
It's like you just wake up and you're like, I don't even want to look at it.
He should be allowed to go get 2 morning stars and a neopenis.
Yeah.
Just go from being a joke to a threat.
Is that like something that they do for like women? Like, do they like fix the area up or something like that?
What do you mean?
You know how like dudes get like wiener enlargements or whatever? Like, I wouldn't assume like a girl would get like a labia enlargement.
No, I don't think so. I don't know what I don't know what the advantage would be of that.
Like they get like two of like those like hot dog rollers.
Or just like roll them out.
Yeah. I don't know why they do it, but I mean, it's a funny thought, the absurdity of it.
I mean, I'm sure that there's like plastic surgery that they have to maybe
Well, I mean, think about
to beautify the area a little bit.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, even though that's like an absurd statement to make, I mean, you look at like some of these people that get like these lips and stuff done, like they look ridiculous. It looks, it doesn't look like a person anymore. Like, they look like something else.
Yeah, well, there was that guy that turned himself into a lizard.
Yeah, people have like weird things that they do to their body.
Yeah, so if a man can become a lizard, you could probably get a prettier vagina.
I mean, fuck, I'm one to talk. I have fucking tattoos, so.
Well, I think a tattoo is a little different than plastic surgery.
Well, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it's still like you have like a twinge of like body modification, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, too, you especially look at like women throughout history have like worn earrings. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
when did like we start getting out of these trees and shit and start sticking things through our fucking ears?
Yeah, or like
like who was the first person to do that? They went, I think I'll stick this through this fleshy part of my ear real quick.
I got a little bit of real estate here. I can.
Yeah, and then also too, it's like, why is it that women, like, why is it mostly women that do it? Like, why was it socially acceptable for a long period of time for women to do it, not for men? It seems like an odd thing to do.
You talking about just like getting earrings in general or piercings?
Yeah, well, to piercing anything. Like you would think that like the human brain would be like, hey, we don't want anything going through this thing that we got here.
Well, I mean, if you leave a piercing out for long enough, the hole will heal itself.
Yeah.
But that's, unless you have like those huge gauges, that never goes back to the normal.
Yeah.
Or like those women in, I can't remember where, but they put the rings on their necks.
Oh yeah.
And they stretch their necks out real far.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean,
because they can't take them off. I mean, if they take them off, they'll die. Like they don't have the muscles in their neck are like gone.
You have like a big old noodle neck.
Yeah. It's like rattling around inside this thing.
Wouldn't their vertebrae have to be really stretched out? Because there's no new vertebrae growing that like fill in the spaces.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, I don't know how many you have in your neck.
I mean, your body can do some pretty amazing things though.
Yeah, but it's not growing new vertebrae.
No, but you would imagine it could probably like increase like calcium to certain areas of the bone in order to stretch it.
Maybe.
I mean, your body essentially does the same thing when it like heals its bone, like the bone with like more calcium, and it's harder to break.
Really? Like after it's already been broken once?
Yeah, like
wow,
like you can like break an arm or something, and this might be complete bullshit. So I might be going off on a tangent here.
There's a 50 chance this is either right or wrong.
Well, the good news is we're doing this over Zoom, so I'll check this real quick. Bone break stronger. Dude, bones. Do broken bones feel stronger? This is from Hackensack Meridian Health Organ. So who the fuck knows? Hackensack. Jesus Christ.
Hack and slash?
Yeah, it's Hackensack Meridian Health. Here, in fact, hey, we're doing this over Zoom. So why don't I just share my screen with you? So you can see this fucking nonsense. Hackensack. Be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Hackensack Meridian Health.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking through this.
What is failure care? Do you see that?
No, failure. Failure. Jesus Christ.
Failure.
How bad is your fucking hospital? You're talking about failure care. It's like on the fucking page here. Hackensack Meridian Health Medical Center, nationally recognized for heart failure care. Oh.
You just had to scroll up a little more. I thought it was a standalone link for something called failure care. I was like, you just bring in people who like have fucked up their whole lives and.
Yeah, here it is. It says initially the callus is soft and made of collagen, but over time it becomes harder due to calcium deposits that arrive to mend the bone. New cells form at the fracture site, connecting the broken pieces together again. Once the bone reconnects, the callus breaks down so that the bone retains its original shape.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would assume too that this, it would probably also depend on your age. I mean, I'm not saying like overall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like an old person wouldn't be able to like break a hip and then like come back stronger for that. It's usually they're down for the count when that happens.
It's like the fucking Saiyans to get a power boost when they get close to death.
Yeah. Would that be crazy if like right before you died, you're just like invincible? It's like 3 minutes of terror and you're invincible.
So they can't even put you out of your misery.
It's like, what kind of fucking horrible universe is this?
Well,
imagine, like you'd have to go out in the woods. Like they'd be like, "Hey, you got to get the fuck out of here! Like you can't be hanging around. We got children in the house." Like,
yeah. Ugh. Well, I mean,
it's like your brain's just imploding on itself, and like there's nothing anybody can do to put you out of your misery.
Like go out and fight a bear.
Yeah, like that cocaine bear.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the cocaine bear.
It's a real thing, people. Yeah. How much cocaine was that? It was like a lot, wasn't it? It was like several pounds.
I think it was like over 1,000 pounds.
Like in the time between him eating all that cocaine and his heart exploding, that was the most dangerous.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Animal.
It was certainly not 1,000 pounds. It's 88 pounds of cocaine, which is still Jesus Christ.
It's still a lot.
Jesus
of
Christ. And it was a 175-pound black bear from Georgia. So he ate almost half
Look
his
at what
weight.
They named him. Look at what they named him.
Pablo Escobar.
Oh my God, they saw a chance and they took it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my God.
Still, there's conflicting reports. One says 70, one says 88.
Either way, fuck it. If it's 50 pounds, that's a lot.
Hold on, wait. Are they talking about two different bears? Or maybe this was just written at a different time and they did a weird. Yeah, this is the same. So this is the same bear, but they're just disagreeing. One says 88, another says 70. But still, I mean, 70. That's fucking more than a third its weight in fucking cocaine. That'd be like me eating. Oh, Jesus, I don't even know how much I weigh. Too fucking much.
That would be if I currently am at 258. So that would be if I ate 85 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
I'm pretty sure I did that. I'm pretty sure I did that math right. Wait, what does that say? Cocaine Bear release date? They're making a movie about Cocaine Bear?
That's from the Looper. It's expected to start August 23rd, 2000. They've already started filming it.
Oh. Well, I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to.
Cocaine Bear. Oh, Jesus. They didn't name it Pablo Escobar.
They got to drop that in there somewhere.
You sons of bitches. That's exactly what you should have called it. You missed a perfect opportunity.
They got to drop that in there somewhere, right? Pablo Escobar is the best shit I've ever heard in my fucking Escobar.
Life. Could you imagine being like just some fucking dude out on a walk in nature? He's like eating your fucking granola bar, and then like you like see this 175-pound black bear, And like you're probably like, oh wow, nature's so beautiful. And then all of a sudden he just stands up and his face is just fucking white as snow.
His eyes are blood red.
Blood red.
And he starts running at him like a person would. On his hind legs, he's pumping his arms. You would be so stricken with fear. That's scarier if like a regular bear was chasing you down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would be way more terrified of a 175-pound black bear that just ate over almost half its weight in fucking cocaine.
Oh, what do you think that bear was capable of in those moments? What do you think he was like? Because like a bear is already like kind of unfair when it comes to like predators.
Well, I mean, yeah, what they like run like up to like 35 miles an hour, which is faster than the fastest sprinter.
Well, they can run down a horse. Like a grizzly bear can run down a horse.
Well, I mean, it's like, and you look at them. I think people, because we've done this weird thing with like teddy bears and like all this shit, and it's like people don't understand that. As far as like America is concerned, they are the apex predators. There is nothing that hunts them.
Yeah.
Especially like a full grown grizzly bear. Like nothing fucks with that.
Yeah, maybe even other grizzly bears barely fuck with other grizzly bears.
Yeah.
The bad thing about grizzly bears is like, or bears in general, is like, if you get attacked by like a cougar or like a mountain lion or something, it's gonna jump, it's gonna stalk you, and then it's gonna jump up, on your back or something, and try and snap your spine and kill you first.
A bear doesn't do that.
A bear just starts eating you.
It starts eating you. Yes, that's what it has something to do with the fact that it's an omnivore. Like because it eats like berries and shit along with like and that might be a lie too. So this might be.
No, they are omnivores. I mean,
but I was about to say, I thought that it had the way that they kill their prey, like has a lot to do with what they like what they eat. And it might be, it's just bears that do that. So I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but I could totally see a fucking crazy ass person chasing down a goddamn squirrel and like biting its abdomen out.
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't fucking put it past them, especially somebody from like fucking Florida somewhere.
Yeah.
Fucking high on flock or like bath salts or some shit like that.
Like that one dude that ate the other guy's face.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean,
well, who was that guy that Finnish soldier that did all that meth in World War II and he was running around in the woods for 2 weeks eating birds and pine nuts?
Oh yeah, he was like what was it? He like took all of his platoons like methamphetamine pills. And then,
which was something that you got when you were in, or at least in the Finnish army. I don't know if anybody else did. I know the Germans did too. Everybody in World War II was high on meth.
Did you watch the documentary about that?
I did.
About how Germany was built, like the Nazi Empire was built on methamphetamine. Essentially, it was like the drugs behind the Nazi Empire. Like there's a documentary on it.
Well, everybody took it like you take Tylenol.
Yeah, I mean, the whole population. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why they couldn't figure out why the Blitzkrieg was happening. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's because they're all fucking high on meth.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, they're all fucking high.
I remember watching the thing one time where like a French pilot or somebody was flying and he flew out towards where the German line, I guess, was at the time. And he didn't make it very far, and he saw, like a whole armored division headed back towards, his side of things. So he turned his plane around and he got back on the ground. And he was like, "There's a whole German like armored division platoon like headed this way right now. They're like 15 miles out." And the higher ups were like, "What? No, they're not. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And then sure as shit, they came up over the hills, and then that was it. Because nobody was fighting wars like that, where that's what the fucking Blitzkrieg was. It was just all of a sudden you overwhelm your enemy with as much force and tanks and armor and machine guns and everything you can all at once.
Yeah. And they're caught with their fucking pants down.
Yeah. And you know what? It got Germany very far.
Oh yeah, but they weren't prepared
Very
at all.
far.
Well, I mean, you think about like World War One happened like not even 20 years before that, because the World War Two started in like what 1938, or was it 39? It might
That
have been
sounds
the end
about
of
right.
30. It might,
I know that it ended in 45.
yeah. I think it was like 6 years that war was fought. I think it was more than just the five, or it might have been five in a couple months or something. But I mean, if you think about it, like 19 to 21 years, like think about the way that they fought wars during World War II, which is certainly much different than the way they fought them in World War II. I mean, World War One going to World War II.
Yeah, World War One, everybody just hung out in trenches.
Yeah, it's like in World War II, at the end of it, I mean, it ends with the only two atomic bombs that have ever been dropped in history.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. World War One and Two were basically one big war.
Yeah, it was like a span of, I mean, World War One started in like what 1915 or something like that, or was it 1918?
I know that 1918 it was already going on because that was when there was the Battle of the Argonne Forest.
Yeah, and that's also when the was that the Spanish flu?
Yeah, it was right around that time too.
Yeah, actually, it is, because I'm reading a book on that.
On the Spanish flu.
Yeah, it came out in 2005. I had it sitting over here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. So it came out like 2005, and I've only read the first couple chapters, but it talks about like how Johns Hopkins was formed, and like how piss poor the fucking like American like medical scene was.
Yeah,
like they were talking about how like people were like calling tuberculosis, like when we talk about like consumption or whatever, that's what they're talking about is TB.
well, they kind of called everything consumption.
Yeah, but like that was the main one. A lot of people who died like that, that was tuberculosis that killed them.
And that's a respiratory disease, isn't it?
Yeah. And so it goes real in depth into like medical history, and like these people that like found like they talk about Pasteur, and some other people, like people who like discovered dysentery, and like how they discovered like, oh, if you filter the water, because like these like inventions like the microscope and all this stuff. And it's very interesting.
It's like well,
that's like the first part of the book. And then the second part of the book, it talks about the Spanish flu, or the influenza virus of like 1918. They haven't said Spanish flu in the book yet. But like I just got to the part where it's starting to become a problem. Like it spread out of Kansas, which is where a lot of people agree where it originally originated from.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of the stuff that we know now, like the common person knows about, things concerning, health. Like you need to wash your hands, you need to be hygienic, you need to, rinse off your produce before you cook it, like all that shit. that it wasn't very long ago when that was not common knowledge.
The crazy thing is too, is a lot of people look at that and they go, oh, how could they not know? Right. It's like, because they couldn't fucking see it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, absolutely. You've never been taught to know that there's something that you can't see that can fucking hurt you.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why a lot of people is like, oh, like it was a satanic spirit that took him out or something like that. It's like, no, a beaver pissed in this fucking stream, and then he just happened to be downstream, was thirsty, and took a drink, and it fucking killed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like even like the way people washed, like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, that was like, their lifestyle. That was how they understood to live.
Yeah, people took baths like, not all the time. We only like when they could. Even then, they would do it like the father they would run a bath, and the father would usually take the bath first, and then the mother would get in that same water, and then the children would get in the water in like descending order of age.
Yeah.
And it's like, by the time, say you had a family of 6, by the time the baby got in that water,
No.
Like that was probably like fucking mud.
Yeah. I mean, it was probably disgusting.
The baby was probably cleaner before he got the fucking
Yeah. Just leave the baby out of the bath.
yeah. Oh God. And these are people who are like living out on like farmsteads and stuff. So the dad is like out shoveling pig shit and
Yeah.
birthing cows all day long.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, they didn't have time to think about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm trying to like survive.
Yeah. And like, even like think about their livestock. You got like a chicken who's out, a chicken will fucking eat anything. I found out the other day, chickens eat each other, Yep. The woman goes out and gets just from some fucking chicken out there in the yard that's been eating God knows what, and she cuts its head off and plucks it, and then the whole family eats that. It's like
No.
there's no telling what kind of bacteria they ate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that too. And people at that time, they didn't understand certain things about like certain. I mean, I'm sure that they had an idea, but like certain types of food and like all that kind of stuff, like it's still harmful if you don't cook it a certain way. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, imagine being like the poor first fuck that decided, oh, I'm going to eat this fucking puffer fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like immediately
like one of the deadliest
died.
Toxins in the world.
Yeah. Immediately died. Like,
yeah. Oh. Or that's like, the only way we know what stuff you can and can't eat is because
somebody died.
Somebody ate the thing you can't eat.
Yeah, so salute to those folks.
Some poor caveman.
Yeah,
he pulled a berry off a bush and then shit himself to death.
Oh Jesus! What a fucking sad existence. So shitty. And you think about it, everything's probably fucking wet all the time. Or it's just dry all the time. Like there's just no in between. It's like your brain hasn't developed enough to know what, like I should put something over my feet. Like,
yeah. I mean, even like
you just have like these fucking rocks for feet.
Like, yeah. Like the bottom of your feet is just fucking shoe leather.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch movies of like, like period pieces or whatever. Maybe, the thing I always bring up is Green Mile. That's not exactly a period piece, but it was like in the middle of some fucking swampland. I don't remember where the area where that movie took place. But there's a scene where Tom Hanks' character, after he's cured, he goes and he has coitus with his wife. And they're like completely dressed in this bed with a big like wool blanket and like no fucking AC, no ceiling fan, and this house that has no insulation because of the time, and then like it shows them afterwards, and they're just both just soaked in sweat, and I'm like, that couldn't have been enjoyable for either party involved. No. It couldn't.
Well, I mean, those people just live different lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they didn't know anything different.
They just lived different lives. Like, it's so insane to think back on how hard everything was.
Yeah.
Like nothing was easy. Yeah, everything was hard.
Not a goddamn thing was easy.
Yeah.
It was like, that scene always comes up and I always think to myself, like, man, if I didn't know that I could get into some air conditioning afterwards, I would ever fuck, ever.
I would never do anything. I would die. I feel like I don't want to exist here.
Oh my God. That's why I never want to go to like Korea, South Korea.
I mean, you think about it too. It's like, think about living back then. Like there's no AC and like the best you can do during the winter is like a fucking fire. Yeah. And so like, there's only maybe 3 days out of the year where it feels nice. You know what I mean? Like you only kind of get that like niceness a couple times. And then we've advanced so much that it's like, if we don't have that niceness at all times, it's like
all the time.
Yeah. All the time. We're like,
it's a violation of your human rights.
Yeah. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? Meanwhile, the thing is like, that's only been for like the past fucking less than 100 years.
Yeah.
Less than 100 years.
Yeah. I mean, cars didn't have air conditioning for the longest time.
No, it's like people would wear these fucking wool suits with a fucking top hat and a fucking handlebar mustache and driving this fucking T Model Ford. It's probably hot as fuck during the summer.
Yeah,
and,
back when they made cars out of fucking steel.
Yeah,
That thing's out there baking in the parking lot. You come out of your textile factory job and you got to get in that fucking thing. You drive home to your house with no air conditioning.
Yeah. And there's probably just dirt floors everywhere.
Yeah, and you're supposed to go and fuck your wife in a
no. That sounds like an awful existence. I mean, there's probably people getting hurt all the time. You probably watched people die inside that factory. There's no fucking OSHA.
Like, yeah, some little kid got sucked up into a loom.
There's no telling the fucking horrors these people saw.
I could have dealt with all of it if there was just air conditioning somewhere.
Yeah, and you don't even get that.
Yeah.
It's like no, you are damned to a shit existence. Can you imagine being the poor fuck that was like the last guy that died before understanding what AC was, like at least in America?
Wait, you mean like he got like a taste of it before he died?
No, he didn't even get that.
Oh.
He had just heard about this thing.
Like with this wonderful invention that can make you want to be in your house for a little while.
He just never got it.
Well, like, go
back even, the sheet. Who knows? Who knows what the last poor fucking soul was.
Like, and you go back a little further and think about like George Washington and all them. They were, all those fucking clothes, just so many fucking layers.
Oh yeah.
And then they put those fucking powdered wigs on top of their heads.
Yeah, because most of them had fucking lice and shit
and fleas. Just a bunch of nasty fucking people.
Oh, I heard something the other day. It was talking about the origin of bigwig, like where that originated from. Like somebody's a bigwig.
Yeah.
Bigwig origin. Fuck, I might have heard this on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Was it like the bigger the wig, the more
no,
you were?
The fashion for wigs began in Bourbon Kings of France, went prematurely bald and took to wearing a wig. By the middle century, especially during blah, 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 blah. It said wigs were expensive to purchase and keep in condition and were depressive and were the... I'm sorry, I can't read that. I'm having a brain fart.
Were the preserve
of the powerful and wealthy. Ostentation was the order of the day in Bourbon, France, and over the time wigs became bigger and often to the point of absurdity requiring of scaffolding.
Scaffolding? Jesus Christ.
Essentially, it meant like the big and powerful. But I had heard that like these people, the reason why they got those wigs was because they suffered from fucking syphilis.
Ugh. Well, how does a wig help?
Because they would put this fucking wig on. I don't know how to spell fucking syphilis. Syphilis.
That is not how you spell syphilis.
I knew that they would know what I meant.
Oh, we're using DuckDuckGo. It's not going to tell on you.
Yeah. So anyway, it was like these people, like these kings and stuff. Yeah. So what I'd heard was that they were, like they got syphilis because they were just like fucking all these people.
Yeah.
And, like they got sick, and this might all be bullshit. So I might be telling a lie, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So like they'd get syphilis and their hair would fall out and shit. And so like all these, so they got these massive fucking wigs. And so like all these people wanted these fucking wigs. And so everybody was like, oh, the bigger the fucking wig, like the fancier I am. So all these people had these fucking crazy ass wigs just because of some fucking syphilis infected dude that was losing his goddamn hair. And everybody thought it was cool. And that might be bullshit, but I like the thought of that. So I'm going to keep it. That's going to be my truth now.
You're not cool unless you got syphilis. I don't know. I guess I'm just spoiled. I couldn't live in a world without air conditioning. I could give up everything else, but not air conditioning.
Yeah. No, not AC. I want a part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like earlier I said I didn't want to go to South Korea. They don't have air conditioning over there. And South Korea is not like a third world country.
They don't?
No.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I've been to France twice and they didn't really do the AC there either.
Yeah. So like a lot of those countries over there, it's like AC is not as big a thing as it is here. Also in South Korea, do you know about fan death?
Fan death?
Yeah, they won't sleep with like a ceiling fan on because they're afraid there's like some old superstition that like either the fan will come loose from the ceiling and chop you up while you're sleeping, or it sucks all the air out of the room and you suffocate.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah. I am not sleeping with a sweaty neck. I would rather die.
Yeah. It's not. I hope it comes down and just fucking beheads me then. I'm not fucking living like this.
Yeah. But and I've also heard, now I don't know if this is true, but apparently the South Korean people, or perhaps even Korean people, or maybe even people where they don't have AC, some of them have quote unquote evolved not to perspire.
What?
Yeah, they don't use a lot of deodorant over there either because they don't sweat under their armpits a lot.
Huh.
But if you think about it, you know, if you have generations of people who are used to having the temperature of the air around them at a perfectly comfortable level at all times, you know, the moment that they step outside, they're just going to start shooting sweat out of all their pores.
I mean, that's true. I mean, if you consider like people who get into shape, it's like they're working up their body temperature. So it's like, of course, the outside forces are going to affect your body temperature. So like, of course, like if your body doesn't need to perspire in order to keep that temperature because it understands what it's doing, it'll probably be more apt to not sweat.
Yeah. You know, and I've always kind of had this theory that, you know, humans are not going to evolve any further than we already have, because it used to be that, you know, all animals evolve to better fit the environment that they're in. So like if you have an animal that, you know, where if big claws are the thing that allow you to survive, then only the animals with the biggest claws are going to survive, right?
No.
But humans, at some point in the last 100 years or so, we have started making the environment fit us rather than fitting the environment.
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean that we're not still going to evolve. I mean, if we're doing things that require us to stand less or that require us to move around, they don't require us to move around as much and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll probably get weaker. And
we'll get weaker, like
short.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Well, but that's the part though. It's because we have this abundance of food for the most part for most people. It's like you can obviously go to the store and like get what you want depending upon how much you make or whatever. Like, but there's food to be had. Yeah, you know, it's not like somebody somewhere like in sub-Saharan Africa or something like that. It's like having to fight over food with like lions and shit. You know what I mean? Like not people that like live in villages, like people who like literally like live in tribes and stuff. Like they still follow the old ways.
Yeah, I mean.
So, I mean, and it seems to be that people are getting bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. It's like we said last time, you know, kids these days are fucking massive.
Oh, yeah. They're fucking huge. Yeah, my daughter's tall as fuck.
Yeah, she is. And I had that thought the other day. I was out on one of my job sites, and it was across the street from a daycare, and all the kids were outside running around playing. And I was like, those kids look like they're about 10 years old. I was like, but I know they're in daycare, so they're not. Like, they're like 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's like I look back at like my pictures from when I was a kid, and like I was a big kid. Like all 3 of us were big kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like I think most of these kids are the size, like at least as tall as I was. Maybe not as heavy, but it's like, well, when you're eating fucking Dunkaroos all day.
Oh, I fucking love Dunkaroos. You know what else I loved as a kid was fucking Rice Krispie Treat cereal.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
You can't find it anymore.
Was that the one that was like in the clusters or whatever?
Yeah, it was like somebody took a bunch of Rice Krispie Treats and broke them up.
Oh, no, I did find those the other day.
Fucking where?
In Publix.
Really?
Over by where we live.
Wow. I might have to go grab me a couple boxes of those because I fucking loved those things as a kid.
Yeah, they're delicious. The ones that I can't find anymore, the Bearberry Kicks, because I really like those.
I was going to say, I have a deep-seated hatred in my heart for fucking butter noodles.
Butter noodles? I like butter noodles.
You like butter noodles?
Yeah, I love butter noodles.
Mom would make us eat. Look, I know that looking back, it's because we were poor, but we had to eat butter noodles, and it was literally just noodles with butter. And I hated butter noodles. It just had no fucking flavor at all. It's just like eating buttered noodles.
I liked them.
I hated butter noodles.
Maybe I'm better at being poor than you are.
Maybe. But all the other poor meals we ate growing up, I loved. Like remember we used to eat smoked sausage.
See, I couldn't do that. See, something about that smoked sausage always gave me a headache. I couldn't do it.
It's probably probably too sweet.
I don't think that it was too sweet. I think it has something to do with and what the weird thing is too is that I like beef and cheese sticks. So you would think that like the nitrites wouldn't really have an effect on like me getting headaches and stuff. Yeah. But I always remember anytime we ever ate those, I had a splitting headache afterwards.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was all about, but
I like salmon patties.
Couldn't do salmon patties either.
Really?
Nope. After I threw up in church.
Oh shit.
Nope.
Hey, while we're talking about memories of growing up together, you and I have never discussed the pee bottle incident.
See, I vaguely remember this.
All I remember is that one time I peed in a bottle and I left it on your nightstand with a poem. I don't remember what the poem said or anything. And then 3 or 4 days later, there was a pee bottle on my nightstand with a poem. And I don't remember anything about what that poem said, but I remember the last line being, "The joke's on you, I peed in one too." And it fucking killed me. And me and you never discussed it, ever. This is the first time we've ever talked about it.
Oh. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I remember you putting that on my nightstand. I was like, what the fuck? I saw there was like a note. I was like, this fucking asshole. And so I like read the note and there was like a little limerick or whatever. I remember I thought about it for 3 days. I was like, what am I going to put? And then I came up with a limerick of my own.
Were you doing like rough drafts?
Yeah, I was doing that. I was like, it's got to be real good.
I just imagine hunched over a desk late at night, like crumpled up papers on the floor. I was
like, I'm going to end this before it starts. I was like, I'm not going to give him a chance to come back.
Like I'm gonna eat a bunch of asparagus and drink a bunch of coffee too before I pee in this bottle.
Yeah, I was like the end. The lead out has got to be perfect.
Yeah, it was. I remember because I read it and I was like, I concede defeat. That was perfect. Like I can't I can't one up that.
Yeah, I do remember that now. The more that I think about it, that's exactly how it went.
Also, I just realized something. We never brought the podcast in.
Oh, we didn't. Well,
No.
what do we think? How far have we? Have you been?
We're about an hour in.
We're about an hour in. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Welcome.
Yes, welcome to episode 15.
15. We're just shooting the shit. So welcome to this episode.
We hope that you've enjoyed the double release that we had there.
Yeah, I thought that was good. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. It felt good to release back to back like that.
It did. I don't know if I'm logged into our account or not.
We had planned on recording this like Friday night or Saturday night, and I would have had this uploaded, sooner, but shit happens.
It is true.
You have life.
Okay, so it's not on this one. Let me pull it up on my phone. Hold on. So we are like real close to 1,000.
Are we?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. I can't believe
I know. It's so crazy to think that there have been over 1,000 people, not 1,000 people, but there have been over 1,000 instances where somebody has found it within like their time frame and reasoning to just listen to us talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an absurd statement. Like think about,
because I'm just a fucking nobody.
Yeah, think about how many hours that is. Like, because our podcasts go for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Most podcasts, they're like an hour and 25, an hour and 30. I think the longest one we had was like an hour and 50, which I think might have been the one with Aaron.
No, I think the longest one we had was about 2 hours. It was episode 3, I'm pretty sure. We ran a little long on that one.
Yeah, it might have been episode 3. But anyway, it's like you think about that over, like, let's just say like an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. That's a conservative estimate, I would say.
Yeah.
So an hour and 30 minutes times like 1,000.
Would that not be 1,300 minutes?
But
no, I'm sorry.
By
Forget that I said that. I'm gonna edit that out.
I hate doing time multiplication, so I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But that's such a pain in the ass. But I mean, if you were to think about that, like how, like if just somebody just sitting there, like how long would it take them to listen to all that? You know what I mean?
What do you mean, like all of our episodes so far back to back?
Yeah.
Or you just?
I mean, that's just an enormous amount of man hours.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's the point I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
I was trying to frame it.
Yeah, it's like when they that fucking that summer that or that year that Pokemon Go released.
Oh yeah,
they were like the world lost like billions of hours of productivity.
Oh yeah,
people were just fucking off playing fucking Pokemon Go.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah,
that that many people like knew about Pokemon. Like, just think about like that was in some person's head at one time, and they were like, I'm gonna come up with a cartoon where these kids are gonna throw these fucking balls at these little rats and shit, and then it's gonna make them fight each other. And so I probably went, that's a fucking stupid idea.
Yeah.
He's probably like, well, I'll fucking show you.
I'm pretty sure like Pokemon is like the most profitable like media franchise out there, isn't it?
Oh, probably without doubt.
Or one of. I mean, it's fucking crazy successful.
I mean, you think about like movies and stuff. Movies, like after a while, like everybody knows what they are, but nobody's ever like really buying the merchandise as much as they were like when the movie came out. Like I'm sure like there's a lot of people who enjoyed like the last Avengers movie. I thought it was all right. So it's like, but there's a short amount of time for like that like release for that like franchise. But with Pokemon, like it's just game after game, and not of most of them. I mean, I don't know what the user reviews are on them or whatever, but like it's just like that constant all the time, and it's always popular. Everybody knows what it is. Like everybody's buying it. Like people are buying.
Knows what Pokemon is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Nintendo, that's probably Nintendo's number one seller. That's probably like their money maker.
Oh yeah.
Like if it wasn't for Pokemon, there's probably no telling. Like Nintendo wouldn't even be probably anywhere close to the company that it is.
Pokemon probably stands out far and away past everything, and probably number 2 is probably, I'd say, Mario, maybe, and that's nowhere near.
Maybe, but a very distant two. It'd have to be distant. I mean, really, the only other one that might get close to it is what's the one for the PlayStation? Final Fantasy. There's a lot of Final Fantasies, and they're very popular. Maybe not as much over here, but like over in Japan.
Yeah.
You know?
But even then, even in Japan, Pokemon is like king.
But that's really the only one that I would see that would maybe even get like a half as close.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Mario in comparison, like Mario was like big like when it first popped off. And then like it was big like Nintendo, like everybody had all the Mario stuff. And then you had like Nintendo all the way up to like 64. And like really after 64, it's like nobody really bought those games like they used to. Like 64 was like an amazement because you were moving around in 3 dimensions for Mario.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was gonna say. It was the 3D thing. Yeah.
So it wasn't just like a scroller anymore. Like you were moving around in 3 dimensions.
It's kind of like a novelty.
It was like mind blowing, and it was mind blowing that it worked so well. That like you like, of course, like people like found cracks in the game or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that they had nothing to go off of.
Yeah.
Like
every now and then, like nowadays, I'll pick up Mario 64 and I'm blown away with how they got it so right. Like the controls, it controls so tightly. There's games that come out nowadays that control like fucking ass. It's like, how did you? When you're making a game nowadays, 3D games have been out for so long. How are you fucking up the controls?
Well, see that's the thing too. Is like there's so many. Like when you have a game that comes out by like these small dev studios or whatever, people that actually care about their product, and they want people to have like a good experience. You know what I mean? Like you think about like was it the first Last of Us or whatever? Like coming out of that studio, and everybody was like blown away with the game. They're like, oh my God, I've never played it, but essentially everybody like loves the first one from what I hear.
Yeah.
And then the second one, whatever. But it's like people still have the ability to do that. It's like, but that's not really what they're looking for. You know what I mean? What they're looking for is like, they want to make some type of like game that's like this big thing or whatever, so that they can get more funding. You know what I mean? Instead of like working with kind of whatever it is that they have.
Well, it's like not every game has to be this enormous undertaking and this huge, like fucking take, for instance, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
I'm currently playing that game through again, and I can see the amount of work that went into that game, making everything realistic and making the world seem alive and everything like that.
Yeah.
But there's always this thing in the back of my head, like, this is great, but it's also kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Like to me, a more interesting game is something that just kind of like has a concept and just builds around that,
Well, and I think that's the thing too, is that a lot of people like they want to make these games so massive, like they have this massive expanse.
Yeah.
And it's like really like what a video game is it's a story. Like that's the thing that hooks you. So it's like you can, have a game that takes 15 hours or like 25 or 30 hours to complete the main storyline. As long as it's a good story and it handles well and it's interesting, nobody's going to care. Nobody will care. All they'll think about is how good that story was and how well your game handled. Like that's what everybody's looking for.
Yeah, it's and with video games, it's like there's a lot of things that can kind of stand in the way. Like if you've got a great story and you got a great soundtrack, but like the gameplay is kind of boring, lacking, or the controls are kind of fucky.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you have to get like the right mesh, right?
Yeah, those like bad things will stand out.
So like it's a very rare day when you probably find like somebody who's like big into like being like a developer. You know what I mean? Like doing the actual coding of like all the shit and like messing with it. It's like maybe they might have some ideas for a story or whatever, but like you think about like George R.R. Martin or like J.R.R. Tolkien, like people who like wrote these novels, like these stories. You know what I mean? It's like they don't think the same way that dude coded. That not to say that dude couldn't do it, but these people over here are just different people.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you consider Tolkien is like I love the Lord of the Rings movies. As a matter of fact, I just finished watching all the extended cuts on HBO Max, which each of those are like 4.5 hours long.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely one of those people that believes that the Lord of the Rings franchise is far and away better than the Game of Thrones franchise.
Well, yeah. Well, it's two different things.
The story. The story is what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily like no, you can't compare like the
Game of Thrones is like a lot of politics, and a lot of like spectacle.
Yeah.
And Lord of the Rings is a lot of like the hero's journey.
Yeah. And well, that's the thing too, is like with all the Game of Thrones series or whatever, like that was the issue, right? Was the fact that he wasn't the one that finished it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to know what their idea of what the ending is. It's like I want to know what his idea of the ending is. Like I'm not interested in your idea of the ending.
It sucks that we never got Lady Stoneheart.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that was such a good character too.
And they easily could have done that. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely, easily could have done that. That would have been a fantastic character to have. Like, because it just like the whole thing, like everybody understood, is a fucking spectacle. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just throwing her in there, everybody been like, "What the fuck?" Like, like everybody's like, okay, we accept that there's dragons and shit, and like. Now there's like this undead like giant guy or whatever. It's like, so yeah, you could probably throw her in. Everybody would go, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that seems about right. That's par for the course.
Yeah. It's like, I'm willing to accept anything because you're just constantly killing people off.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so good. It's just so ruthless.
Yeah. But it's like, even, so, and rewatching Lord of the Rings, it's like, there's a lot of moments that I don't want to say they're campy, but they're a little dated.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
but a lot of that's in the dialogue between characters, and that's just the way that Tolkien wrote.
Yeah, well, at the same time, it's like you're getting a look into that time period.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like
he wrote that after what, World War I. Because Tolkien was in World War. He served in World War I.
Oh,
I think
maybe.
I'm pretty sure he wrote.
And
that
wasn't he like a professor
after.
or something like that? And then like it started with like him telling his kids like a story, like The Hobbit. Like he kind of started making it up, and then he just started kind of writing it down.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that's how that went. I'm not even going to look that up. I'm pretty certain that's how it went.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fact check myself.
It's just I'm just going to confidently put that out there.
Yeah. I'm going to let my hubris take over for a second. I'm pretty confident. Watch me be wrong, and everybody in the like there's going to be like people in the Facebook comments for like the poster. It's going to be like, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, that should be a segment on the podcast called Actually.
Actually.
Yeah. If we fucked up, if we confidently spouted out some information and we were wrong, send us an email with the subject Actually.
Yeah.
And then tear into us.
Yeah. I like that. That sounds good. That'd be good. But yeah, no, I mean, even still, like you look at Tolkien, but you're getting a look back into like that time period. It's like, I'm sure that when people maybe look back at George.R.R. Martin's work, they'll be like, oh, that kind of identifies the time period that they're in. You know what I mean? It's like you can't really see like your own time period while you're in it, but as things change and they get different, like as society changes, like it becomes like more cynical or less cynical. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, his work indicates the time period.
and he was, when you want to talk about somebody that was just a creative mind, Tolkien was, he stands above, because like he wrote all those languages, like everything that they're saying in like the movies and stuff. Those aren't just like phonetic sounds that the actors are making. He actually made languages. He made the Orcish language. He made the Elven language. He made all those different things with like grammar and syntax and stuff. He invented all that shit just so he could write the book.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he came up with this own universe, like the amount of care and tech that he put into it so that he could design the story that he wanted, like is really astounding.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like now you're getting to like stuff like, oh, I'm gonna make up a language and all this stuff, and like that's not really. I mean, you could kind of do a couple words or whatever, but the fact that he came up with a fucking language,
yeah,
so that he could write in that language and like understand what he was talking about.
Yeah,
instead of being like beat bop boop and like and like out to the side, it's like, how are you, or some shit like that.
Oh, that's what they fucking do in Star Wars.
Yeah,
where fucking Jabba the Hutt's like, "Oka baka duka Han Solo."
Yeah, Han Solo. Well, I mean, even like you look back at Star Wars, like some of the first is pretty campy.
Oh yeah, just dude, they're all camp.
Yeah,
it's all camp.
I mean, but that was the thing, though. I mean, there's still like those are still the best ones.
Did you ever see the Star Wars Christmas special?
No.
It's like it's George Lucas's like ultimate shame. Like he's so disgusted by it. I mean, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't even really know how to explain it. It's just like all these short stories. They're all kind of smashed together. They're like, yeah, yeah. They're so in the Star Wars world, they're celebrating Life Day, which is their version of Christmas. And there's like this one part where like Chewbacca's family are having like this day in the life kind of thing in their big tree house, where like the mom Chewbacca is like cooking a pie, and like the boy Chewbacca, he's like playing with some toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's so fucking bizarre. It's just like I don't know what happened. George Lucas ate half his body weight in cocaine and then he made that shit.
Yeah, what the fuck was he thinking? What did he think was gonna happen there?
I just have this one memory of there's a part where B. Arthur is like, she's
B. Arthur.
Yes, B. Arthur. She's like a bartender, and she pours a jug of juice into the top of a man's head. And she's singing a song.
Please tell me that song in the background, like bing, 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 bing.
Oh man.
Oh god.
It's just funny that after what's episode 6 called? Yeah, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, I always get the names mixed up.
Is it Return of the Jedi? Is it Return of the Jedi? I think that's right.
It might be.
But it's crazy to think that after that one, he was like, I gotta do a Christmas special. And it's like it's just the most straight to TV looking fucking thing you've ever seen in your life.
Well, I mean, even too, like you look back at like the prequels, and it's like those are pretty campy for the time period.
Yeah. I like the prequels though.
Yeah, I do too. They're kind of like, well, now that I've seen like the last ones or whatever, I'm just like, yeah, I appreciate the prequels a lot more.
Yeah, the prequels feel more like Star Wars to me.
Yeah, like they were much more into like,
except maybe the first one, because there's a lot of like politics in that one, like trade routes and like embargoes and taxes.
Yeah, like, and that one was that's a weird
interesting.
One.
This isn't interesting to listen to.
Yeah, that one I didn't care for too much. Well, I take that back. The only reason why I like that one is because of Darth Maul. I really hated they killed him off in that first movie.
Yeah,
because he is by far, he's my favorite bad guy out of the whole series. Like
he was sick.
He was very interesting. Like when he hopped off that fucking thing and pulled his fucking like cape back or whatever, and had the fucking the dual lightsaber. I was like, oh my god.
This is a certified motherfucker.
Yeah. I was like, we need to know more about him immediately.
And then they chopped him in half and he fell down a shaft.
Yeah.
What is with falling down shafts in fucking Star Wars? Everybody falls down a shaft.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of.
It's like an Easter egg or something.
It's just like boy, there's a lot of shafts around here. Yeah. These shafts into nothingness.
Yeah.
It's like with this little fucking walkway. It's like, imagine being like the safety general person for like one of those installations. You're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like we can go into hyperspace, but we can't build a fucking handrail.
Yeah. Like we got another one that went over.
Yep.
Wasn't wearing his
Darth Maul falls down a shaft. Palpatine falls down a shaft. Luke Skywalker falls down a shaft.
I guess it's just an easy way to shoot a death scene.
I guess so. Fucking Han Solo falls down a shaft. and fucking the new one that came out.
Yeah,
A New Hope V2.
And that was the thing too, was like with the last three, was that they had Snoke and then just nothing got resolved.
Yeah.
Just nothing got resolved. It's like, well, who was he? Like, we don't even know who he was.
Well, apparently he was just a clone, remember, because they had all the tanks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I guess that was just like they gave us that. They're like, "Don't worry, there was a bunch of these guys." It's like, well, it doesn't really explain anything.
Yeah, it doesn't explain anything. Like we're gonna leave it at that. Like, all right. I don't know. I just feel like the last three, it's like they and I know that it's probably not what they were shooting for. It's like, but you're really questioning your audience's intelligence. Like,
yeah,
you just kind of assume like you can just kind of feed them whatever and they'll kind of eat it up.
Why did they ride horses on the outside of the Star Destroyers? What was the point of that? Just because it was cinematic? That's the only reason I could think.
I guess for the same way fucking Leia flew through fucking space. Fucking
so
ridiculous.
That
was fucking ridiculous. I remember because me and Allison went and saw that, and I let out an audible groan when she did that in the movie theater. And there's like 3 people that turned around. And I was like, are we not watching the same fucking movie?
Yeah, I know you motherfuckers just saw what I saw.
I know. I was like, are we not going to at least acknowledge that was like, that's fucking stupid? It's like, he's like, you're just going to drop that on us now? Like there's like no fucking, it's like, oh yes, now she's a Jedi. And she just like flies through fucking space. And it might be because I'm a fucking normie or whatever, but it's like, I don't ever remember, like, you can't just drop that off and like have this expansive amount of time where we've never seen this actor again. And all of a sudden she can fly through fucking space. Like,
I much more enjoy the like extended universe stuff, like the non-mainstream stuff more than the movies.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I think too with those ones, I think those are passion projects for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
you know what I
mean? Anything that gets made, and you can always tell when the people making it, had their hearts in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like all the
you can always tell when something's just manufactured.
Yeah, it's like the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
you can tell that. Was it Jon Favreau?
Yeah,
you can tell that he is a fan of Star Wars. Like
the Mandalorian has a lot of flavor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love Bill Burr in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, because I just hear Bill Burr.
I just hear Bill Burr. I see him. I'm like, oh look, it's Bill Burr in Star Wars. Yeah. Like that first episode he's in, him and the Mandalorian are having like a Mexican standoff, pointing their guns at each other, and Bill Burr's character goes, "Get that gun out of my face, Mando!" And it just sounds like Bill Burr screaming.
Oh, good.
But he did a great job. Bill Burr's.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. I love him in that part. He's so good.
That scene where he shoots the officer sitting across from him.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great scene.
Oh yeah, he
Bill
does
Burr
an
does a
amazing
good job of that.
and he's so funny. Like if you ever listen to his podcast, he was kind of putting himself out about it. He was like talking about. He's like, I guess I'm in fucking Star Wars now.
Yeah, because he used to shit on Star Wars.
Yeah,
all
he
the
used
time.
to shit on Star Wars all the time.
until they wrote him that nice check.
Yeah.
And he changed his tune.
I think he was saying he was really interested by the part or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I like when you occasionally.
I mean, I'm glad that he's doing it. He does a great job.
Yeah, I like when you see him in stuff like in Breaking Bad and
he has like little roles
that movie.
there.
Well, he did that movie with oh god, I can't remember that fucking guy's name.
Oh, King of Staten Island.
Yeah, but I can't remember the other guy's name. It's not Rami Malek. That's somebody else.
Pete something.
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Yeah.
That is a great movie.
I started watching that movie the other night, and then I ended up falling asleep, so I haven't watched it all the way through. It was super late when I.
It's a long movie. It's very long, but it's very good. Yeah, he'll surprise you with his acting chops.
Oh yeah, he's really good. He's really, really good. That's one thing I don't think I could ever do. I don't think I could ever act.
Yeah, me either.
I don't think that. Like it would be so.
I don't know if I could put myself in that headspace.
Yeah, even that, like just remembering the lines and being like, but I have to make it sound as if we're having a conversation when it's just I'm just repeating stuff back to you.
Yeah, and you're not like recalling lines.
Yeah, like instead of just like an actual conversation I'd have with somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like have you ever seen
comes forward?
Yeah, have you ever seen the raw footage or something like before they add in like all the special effects and whatever, and it's like there's like normal lighting of like actors standing around in like their costumes and stuff, and they're like acting out like their superpowers and stuff like that. And it looks so ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It's like almost kind of cringy. It's like if I was there, I would have a hard time not being like, ugh. We look like stupid.
You have to be like, act like you're being like, ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
It's like punching air. Like, now I'm gonna throw my shield. Like,
ugh.
Yeah, it'd be super. I'd feel super cringe doing that. We should have like another segment called like super cringe, where like we just
super cringe.
The cringiest fucking video we can get our hands on, and then we post it on Facebook, and everybody has to watch it. We can do that as like a Thursday thing or something.
Yeah,
we can do like as a Thursday thing. We'll do like super cringe.
I have a backlog of stuff.
Yeah, and then so like let's do that. So let's like on Thursdays or something, we'll do like a super cringe video. Or like we'll find a really super cringy video and we'll throw it up and then we'll discuss it.
We should put up
that'd be good.
Some of Joey's World Tour.
Oh, good.
You know about Joey's World Tour, right?
I have heard.
He's the guy that eats the chorizo.
Oh yeah.
My favorite thing about that video is he's like, hey guys, I'm gonna do the chorizo challenge, and it's like. He's presenting it as if it's like this thing that other people are doing. It's like,
oh no,
it's like very clear, like he just wants to try and eat raw chorizo. And for anybody who doesn't know, chorizo is just Mexican pork sausage.
It's just so it's so gross.
It is. The worst part about that video is that he goes back for a second bite after he, he's like, ooh,
it's so gross.
And he's like crying and like it's all over his mouth. And he's like, I'm gonna try it again. He's like, I can taste the spices.
The spices.
That man is a fucking wreck.
Yeah, well, you eat fucking raw pork. Like that's not good for you, dude.
Or the video where he eats the Nutella and he's just gagging the whole time.
I haven't seen that one.
He's something else, man. I don't know. He's God bless him.
Isn't it so strange that you can like watch somebody do something and like you get secondhand embarrassment? Like,
yeah. Oh,
isn't that like an odd feeling to get that like your brain makes that connection? Like you're just you feel weird being in the presence of it. Like,
yeah. I get secondhand embarrassment so fucking bad. So bad. Oh, I had a little bit of firsthand embarrassment the other day.
Oh, you did?
I did. Other night, Mary and I went out to dinner with her dad and her stepmom. Went over to Los Cowboys. And after dinner, we were going to leave. And as I was walking towards the door, I saw a friend of mine from high school, and she was sitting there, and she noticed me. I noticed her. I said, "Hey, how you doing?" I leaned down, and I gave her a hug, and there was a guy sitting across from her, and he reached out his hand to shake my hand, as if I took it as he was introducing himself to me. Yeah. And so I shook his hand. I said, "Hey, I'm Gary. I'm so and so's friend."
Yeah.
As I said, I went to school with her, and she said, "We all went to school together. That's so and so." And I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, hi."
Oh, no.
I didn't recognize him and I didn't remember him. And it's got nothing to do with him. It's me, I have a shit memory. I probably got the worst memory out of anybody you could ever meet. And faces and names and like people from high school, I do not remember, but like maybe 10 people.
Oh, no.
I was just like, I just said, "Hey, well, it's been a long time."
And then Mary was like, "Oh my God."
Well, Mary was I don't think she noticed that happen.
Yeah.
But Mary was standing next to me and she had her back turned, and I just kind of tapped Mary on her shoulder, and I was like, introduced Mary to them. I was like, "Hey," I was like, "This is my wife, Mary." I said, these are my friends from school." And Mary goes, "Oh," she says, "What are their names?" And I said,
"Oh no."
And well, I said, "This is her name." And I said, "And this is his name." And it's kind of a good thing that she said, "Yeah, that's so-and-so. We all went to high school." Because if Mary would have asked me, that hadn't happened. And Mary said, "What are their names?" I would have said, "This is so-and-so. And this is,
Yeah, that'd been bad. Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, I got one. I don't know if it's so much embarrassing, but it is funny. It made me laugh when it happened. So when I checked into the hotel that I'm at here, where I'm at now, I'm in Oklahoma. I was getting, I had checked in and I put all my stuff like on the trolley thing to get it up to the room.
Yeah.
And so I go into the elevator and there's like a lady standing, like there's a lady like coming around the corner or whatever. And so like I'm in there like with the trolley thing, and like granted I have it kind of at an angle. I could have moved it so there could be room enough for two of us, but it was a fairly small elevator in my defense. Yeah. So, and she like rounds the corner and she kind of like looks in there. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, like no room." And so I'm like waiting for the thing to close, and it's not fucking closing.
So what, you just fucking standing there looking at it? Sorry, no room.
And then but like it was like an odd amount of time because I was like, any minute now it's going to start closing. So I'm like I stand there and I'm like, "Fuck, okay." And then so like I'll reach over, like trying not to make eye contact with her, and I press the button to like make the door close. And I swear to God, it's the slowest fucking elevator door. It's just like barely like inching along, and it's making this grinding sound. And I was just like, I wasn't looking at her. I was like, I know she's looking at me. I know she's looking right at me.
Like, this piece of shit. Oh, you know what would have been
God.
worse if somebody else came around the corner and like they didn't like ask, they just got on with you, and you didn't say anything to them.
That'd have been so funny. Oh man.
One time in high school, I was at the car riders. I wasn't waiting to get in a car, but I was standing with some friends who were there, and it had rained a little bit earlier in the day, so the ground was wet, and I could see I was on the outside of the building, but right there's those big glass windows, and you can see people on the inside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my other friends was standing inside the building with his back turned, and so I got the idea that I would run up and smack my hands on the window to scare him.
Yeah.
And so I take off running, and I make it about 10 feet away from the window, and I just fucking eat shit. I fucking like I did like the whoop, like that slip, like when you fall backwards and your legs go up in the air.
Yeah.
And I was running so fast, the ground was wet. I slipped and I fell, and I slid 10 feet and I smashed into the window with my body, like I got flung out of a car. And everybody standing there saw it happen, and nobody said anything. Like all the conversations all died down.
Yeah.
And it got real quiet, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm just covered in mud.
It'd be better if somebody just kind of started laughing.
Yeah, it would have been better. But because I also can't deal with awkward silences, I got up and I went, ta-da! And nobody said anything.
And nobody said anything. That would have made me laugh. I would have immediately started laughing.
I just went, okay. And I just walked away.
Oh God. Oh God. Yeah, I would have immediately laughed at that.
I just had like this hot wash of shame over my whole body. It just laid in bed thinking about it.
Boy.
I was like, couldn't have somebody have laughed?
Yeah, it's like oh my God. It's like one of those ones that's always gonna stick with you.
Yeah.
Like I should have done that different.
Yeah, every night before I fall, like right on the cusp of falling asleep, I'm just like, hey, remember that time?
Yeah. Your brain's like filing some shit away, and it's like, oh, here we go.
Oh, we got this one.
It's like, had a red tab on it. Let's see what this one is. It's like, oh, this one again.
Oh man, that was so bad. Well, I think that's about time for tonight.
Yeah, I think so. It's getting pretty late here.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening.
Yes, thank you so much. We do really appreciate it.
I personally am blown away by the like we said earlier, the amount of downloads that we've had. Everybody, listening and rating the podcast and sharing the podcast and everything. We have me and Wesley discussed a special little thing that we're going to do when 1,000 downloads come along. We'll let you know what that is when it happens. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the podcast today. Wesley, do you have anything you'd like to close with?
No, just if you enjoy the podcast, just remember to like us or subscribe or whatever it is that you do on your preferred podcast platform, or leave us a like or a review. It really does help, and we really do appreciate all the support.
And share the podcast too.
Oh yeah, do that too,
because we got zucked and we can't run ads anymore.
Nope.
I don't know what happened.
We can't shamelessly pimp our show out for money. So
oh well.
But we do appreciate the support, because without you guys, we wouldn't even be doing the show. So
yeah, exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that's the podcast. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, buddy.